Welcome to the old Lumens channel again. I'm going to tear down another light. This is the SmallSun ZY-T08 that was from the wall buys group buy. I got one sent to me in the mail ahead of time here from the rest of them that are coming from wall buys. I got it sent from one of the other members. Had a light sent to me along with a driver and the mod kit, the Xenier mod kit. So I'm just going to talk about a little bit about the light and tearing it down and that kind of thing. This is the style, the original style, which has a plastic reflector in it. Okay, it has an XML. I imagine XML T6 most likely. Glass lens, plastic reflector, has a polished bezel. The rest of the light is black. It's not a rough finish, it's a smooth finish and fairly shiny. And then it has a polished end cap on it, on the tail cap section. Actually, it really is the tail cap, and it's all screwed together. It's not an unscrewable tail cap. Anyways, this thing takes two 18650 in parallel. I already did a test on the stock driver. I would assume that the drivers that you're going to get are going to be the same as this. It did 2.02 amps on high, and that was it. And I got 30K lux at 1 meter. Okay, so that's nothing impressive. It really isn't. We're going to see if we can make it impressive. But I mean, it's a nice light. I've always liked these. I just like the way they feel. I guess maybe because the body is that thin, flat body instead of the round style. I don't know. The fact that it has a lot of ribs up in the section where the pill is. I just have always liked this light. I've modded, I think, one or two of them anyways, but I'm going to show a little tear down on it. First thing, we'll go ahead and take the body off from the head, and you're not going to see inside, but down inside there's two springs in there on the contact plate in the rear. And this is your driver here. The driver should be, hang on a second here, something like, okay, about 30 millimeters. That should be fairly close, about 30 millimeter driver sits in here. Then we'll go ahead and get the bezel off. Take a look real quick at that. There's a glass lens with an O-ring below it and the plastic reflector. I mean, it's a nice reflector. It's done well. The lens is about 57 millimeter, 58, right around there. Just a glass lens. It looks coated. Okay. Thickness is it's about 2 millimeter, maybe 2.5 millimeter thickness. Real heavy, clear O-ring. In fact, this really isn't an O-ring. This one isn't anyway. It's more of like a flat ring seal than an O-ring. Okay. Plastic reflector is, and I'm just giving you approximates, about 40 millimeters deep, and overall outer diameter is about the same as the lens, about 57, 58 millimeter. The pill is down in there, and we're going to work on getting all that apart. Like I say, it has an XML in there. It has a plastic centering locating ring in it. The LED star looks to be about maybe 24, 25 millimeter. We'll measure it when we get it out of there. I'm going to pause here for a second. Okay, I'm back to it again. I was looking at this pill. If I remember correctly, and I just tried using I just got a couple of tools that I'm using. I'm using a pair of needle nose, fine needle nose, and a pair of clippers, and I have a 2 millimeter Allen wrench to take the 4 screws off the tail cap here. But to get the pill out and driver and everything, this pill screws down in and comes out the bottom instead of screwing out and coming out the top. So you can't take the pill out and then push the driver out. Now I could take and try something right here like an Allen wrench or something, and you know, going down the driver and pushing that way, but I don't know what I'm going to hit. And one of the things I'm going to look at is whether or not the driver can be modded. The stock driver can be modded for people who don't want an MTG2. They just want to do an XML2. So I'm going to see if I can get in here. There's 2 half rounds here cut on the driver, and I can see there's besides this ring in here. Well, hang on a second. Just hang on a second. What a dummy. Just give me a minute, okay? Give the old guy just a second here, because I think I've just lost it right there. Yeah, what a dummy. There you go. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken my needle nose and I've gone inside for the 2 holes where the wires are, and I'll just take the whole pill out that way. Now that might not do a heck of a lot for me, but let's see what I got when I get it out this way. Okay. What I'm thinking is when I get it out that way, that I'll be able to take the star off and then just push down on the driver. Take a look at it real quick here. Okay, that should be going out, and if I can grab a hold of it with my hand, get it out of here the rest of the way. Okay, a lot of threads. All right, fine threads too, that's good. Hollow pill, it does have an aluminum shelf in there, but it's hollow inside. So I can try to pop the driver out 2 ways. I can go this way and try to pop it out by prying it out and hopefully not break it. Let's see what happens. Yep, see, I can pop it there. Or if I can't do that, I can remove one of the wires in here with my little pair of clippers, because I'm not keeping the stock wires. I can, you know, cut a wire out of the way here, and then take something and go down inside and try to feel for a bare spot on the driver, you know, sort of feel around and do it that way. But I'm going to try to pry it out this way and see if it'll go. It's starting, so, and I want to reuse this driver. Here we go. Okay, so here's the stock driver, and we'll take a look at this. And I see a FET there, it looks like. So probably something easy we can do with it by changing out the resistors, but I'll let the electronics gurus take a look at it and tell me what I can do, or tell us what we can do. Okay, so I'll go ahead and cut that out, or cut that off, snip the wires, and then see what the pill. I think the pill, I don't think it's not glued on. It's just it's not adhesive. It's just probably you know, just some thermal grease. There you go. There's quite a bit of grease in there. Looks like it's not pressed down very good. I'll tell you one thing, that this reflector was a little bit loose in the head, so this was not pressed down super tight onto the shelf. The star wasn't, and it's an aluminum star. It's measures about 25 millimeter, like I said, about 25 millimeter. And again, XML, probably T6, plastic centering ring. We'll keep all that for if we do an XML mod with it. The shelf here looks like it's about 1 millimeter thick at the most, so not an awful lot there. We're going to look and see what we can do on the inside to build that up, but at least that's what we got. It's a hollow pill. It's got some possibilities of putting some mass in there and build that up. And hang on a second here, we'll go on to something else. All right, what I'm going to do with the driver is when I do this MTG2 mod, what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the driver across here from the positive, negative in 2 halves. I'm going to cut through and make it so it's 50-50, one side positive, one side negative. And I'll, you know, we'll go into detail about how to do that, and then I'll just strip the components and use it for a contact plate, basically. All right, so let's look at the tail end of it. We have 4 screws here. They're Allen heads. I'm using a 2 millimeter. No, I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm using a 1.5 millimeter. I'm sorry about that. 2 millimeter does not work. 1.5 millimeter is what I'm using to loosen these screws up, and I'm going to see what I got here in the way of the guts in this tail cap. I can almost remember, and I know there's some photos of it, but I'm going to go ahead and get that out, get that done real quick if I can. And yeah, okay, so we got some screws in here. Pull these out. Hang on a second. Okay, so after I take the 4 screws out, here's that back piece, the aluminum back plate here. On the tail cap, there's a rubber gasket. Then inside you have a bushing in here that you can unscrew, and that holds the just the rubber boot, okay, for the switch. Then when we get to the back end of the body, we have the switch assembly with the contact plate, and that's held on by 2 Phillips head screws. So we just remove the Phillips head screws from here, and who knows why they use Phillips head screws, you know, I mean, probably that's what they had, or that's what they got. They are fine machine thread. I'm sure they're metric, but that's what we got, and that's not a big deal. I mean, we can work with that. They're fine. So we got them out of here, and see if we can't get the plate out. There we go. So now we got just a bare body right there. Okay, just a chunk of metal with a hole in it. And this is the switch and the contact assembly right here. You see the switch, these are in parallel, so both your negative are on the back side. There's a strip running through here that ties both of them together. You have your switch that comes from the springs and goes out to the body, which is held in place by the screws. So when your switch is made, you have current, and when your switch is off, you're open circuit. So anyways, we'll be modding that because one side is going to be positive and one side is going to be negative for the MTG2 mod. We're going to be doing these in series, so there'll be some modifications done to this switch assembly and contact plate to turn it into that, as well as what we do to the head, or I mean the driver, to be able to do that. So I'll go through all that when we get to the mod stage. But this is what we got. This is the T08 disassembled. And from there we'll work on doing some mods. I do not have an MTG2 yet. I do have an XML2. I may go ahead and show an XML2 with this mod with this. Certainly I can show what I'll do for a pill modification and that kind of thing. So I'll work on that and do another video here in a little bit. Thanks for watching.